because that is within reach. Let me yield there and hear from other people. Asanteni sana. Good to see you, Maj. Good to see everybody else. Kumbukeni, lovely to see you there. And Dr. Miguna, so glad to hear you and so honored to be sharing this space with you. Thank you, Wanjiro, for inviting me. And I'm just so gratified that we are having this conversation.
I think Daktari wants to answer you. Daktari, I see your mic is open. Please,
yes. Thank you very much. We were on this space for 3 hours yesterday, and I actually posted a summary of the main points that we discussed. And I believe the general consensus, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, is that we are way past what our friend, brother was saying. We are way past that. We are way past recalling the MPs. We are way past signing petitions. We are way past impeachment motions. We are on the streets. And a lot of our people have already been murdered by Ruto. So it's not a question of process. The process that we have now is a popular revolutionary process on the streets. On the streets everywhere in the Republic of Kenya. We are in all villages, we are in all towns, we are in all cities, and people are calling for Ruto to go. This is a constitutional process. As I explained yesterday, under Clause 1 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the sovereignty of the people, the power to constitute ourselves into a state, into a government, vests or belongs to the people. That's Clause 1 of the Constitution. That's where it is. You can choose to govern yourselves through your elected representatives, or you can do so yourselves directly when your elected representatives or quote-unquote governors have failed, which is what happened more than 2 weeks ago. Ruto failed. Ruto registered to the people that he failed by forcing Finance Bill 2024 on us, even though Kenyans had told him in petition after petition, protest after protest, and engagement after engagement, that he needed to withdraw it entirely so that he could bring a legislation or bill that was acceptable to the people. He refused. He said, I'm going to do it whether you like it or not. And then he forced his MPs, who are basically robots, to pass it in parliament. And then he was going to sign it had the people not taken over parliament and all spaces in Kenya. In other words, if we don't do what we did last week, we have lost it. We cannot change course and go back and start the process all over again. He occupies and controls the legislature. He controls the National Assembly. He controls the Senate. He controls the county assemblies. He controls the governors who are robots, headed by Anne Waiguru, the NYS thief. He controls the media, largely, except for the brave journalists that you saw yesterday, but the institutions of the media he controls. He controls the judiciary. So which means that he has blocked all democratic routes for people to be able to bring him to account. We can't take it to, you can't take him to court and win. You can't take him to the National Assembly through any impeachment legislation and win. So where is the space that you can engage William Ruto and be able to tell him that we are your bosses, you must do what we say? It's only in the public square. It's only on the streets. It's only in the cities. It's only in the towns. It's only in the villages. And that's where we must occupy tomorrow, with 10 million, or from a million going up, so that he understands that these people don't want me. I throw in the towel, and we constitute what I've already outlined yesterday, or whatever it is that people believe unanimously is the good process, so that we can have fresh elections. That is entirely constitutional. And it has happened like that throughout history in many, many countries, which I don't have to list today. So let's not go back. Let's not give William Ruto respite, a breathing space. Let's move forward.
Thank you, Dr. for that. Before the next speaker comes in, I want to read for you a poem from Martin Luther King, Nathan Nimola, born in 1892 up to 1892, and then he died in 1984. He said, first they came for the communist, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So next speaker, please.
Hello, guys. Can be allowed to speak something. First, I have to say condolences to all.
Wait.
Okay.
Binadam, we don't work here that way. You carry up your hand, because all these people will start to open the mic. Then how it will be. So it is important when we see your hands up. That is very key. Maj, but Binadam, go ahead before Maj, and then Tomboy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, Binadam, wait. Tomboya was ahead of you. Please, just be patient. Raise your hand, and then you'll be given the mic. Let's be orderly, please. Table manners. So Tomboya, yes.
Hello, Kenyans. Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really wanted to reiterate on the point that the five-star general, Dr. Miguna has explained, but now I'll be very brief. We should be very specific, as he has always said. Let us know what we want and go for it. We are actually past anything constitutional and legal process. Let us know that anything that requires to go back to consider a procedure of constitutionalism is not for us right now. Let us be on the street and let us go by Ruto must go now. Ruto must go, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. After having that as a word, then let us go by action. Let us occupy the streets. By this time, we should not necessarily be reminding us many things, the negatives and any other thing. We should now be talking about which strategies are we employing on the streets. If we say we remove the picture of Ruto on our businesses, let that be the strategy. If we say we occupy the specific office, let that be the strategy. Let us go by action, because this action is what will make him come out. Going by saying that we must recall MPs first before Ruto has gone, that one will just continue taking us into circles. Let us focus on Ruto. As the five-star general said, let us avoid Weston. Let us avoid his businesses. Let us be specific, and we are going to achieve it. This is a spirit that is now running with us. It is a spirit. Let us go by this spirit. Thank you. I don't want to say much. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the next speaker who is coming in, please, if you voted in Ruto as your president, remember and don't forget that, first of all of you guys who are in here, you are criminals. You never voted for him. What voted for him is the 2.6 billion worth of properties that you've spoiled. Brick and mortar made our president the man he is today. So please, Bin Adam, go.
Okay, thank you so much. And I would like to start by condolences to all the fallen heroes. We're still together in love and in spirit. What I would like to say here is, after watching the interview, you could clearly see that this guy is still a liar and a person who don't want to admit to the mistakes. He doesn't have the empathy. He doesn't feel how it feels to lose someone you know, someone close to you. So when I watched him and he pretends to be following up online, and the only defense he could say, you know, the BBC reported there was no massacre. So it tells you that this guy comes online, but he looks for those loopholes like yesterday. So what I would like to say is, the cause is already on and we can't back. Because for us to start regrouping again, if we stop this, it will be very difficult. But one issue I have personally is this. Like we say, Maandamano, it's every Tuesday and every Thursday. And I think we are giving them a good time to regroup and replan and re-strategize. So that's just my opinion, so that others can try to look at my perspective. Because imagine, since there was Mandamano last Thursday until tomorrow, these people have now good energy. The police have good energy to come to streets tomorrow. But if we make it consistent, like almost every day, we will exhaust them, because we know very clearly that the ratio of a policeman to the citizens, it's 1 to maybe 300. So if we make it every day, we will be able to exhaust these policemen. They can't manage us. And then if we come, like we're saying, make it 10 million strong, we will exhaust all these departments of police and the military. So that's just my opinion. I wish that most people would come out, and I wish we can increase the days, not to give them time to re-strategize and plan. And I would like to ask Daktari, now since we know clearly right now that he's playing games with us when he say he doesn't sign, but I have understood from what I've heard, I'm not pretty sure, that if the bill stays along within 14 to 21 days, automatically it becomes a law. So which means we are fighting, but the thing is still cooking. So what's the best way we can do to make sure that we don't lose this, Daktari? Thank you.
Daktari, the mic is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the short answer is yes, within 14 days, the bill is automatically law. So basically, Ruto has done nothing. There is no withdrawal of the bill. It will automatically become law, even if he doesn't sign it. That is why I was saying people who are saying Ruto has conceded are completely wrong. He waited until this time because he knows that if he doesn't sign it within 14 days, it will be law. And he's already signed the appropriation bill 2024, which means that he is spending just as much as he was before. He said that he was going to deal, like yesterday, he was asked about the offices, the illegal offices of the first ladies and the second and third ladies, and he said he was going to not fund them. But in the appropriation bill that he signed, he allocated over 557 million to these officers. They are already receiving money as he was speaking, so he knew he was lying. Don't believe anything Ruto says. Don't believe anything his office says. Don't believe anything any of his cronies say. Throughout history is to occupy all spaces. Make sure they can't move. Make sure they can't execute. Make sure they can't do anything. So that even if they took the money, they cannot spend it. Right now, if they cannot leave State House, they can't go to the 7-star hotels, they can't fly out of the country, they can't go to their mistresses, they can't enjoy the money. So eventually, they will just have to go. And if we are 1 million to 10 million strong, we can occupy everywhere, including where he is. And he would have to take that helicopter to Congo or to any other country that he deems he can seek exile in. But Ruto should have no free space to move, and his regime. Those who are thinking that this is something to be given to Rigiji should be reminded that Ruto must go includes the entire regime. Those who are saying the military will take power do not understand the mentality or orientation of the military. The military does not fire at citizens. They join citizens when citizens occupy all public spaces. That is recorded in history. They are not like the zombies that are called police, who shoot because many of them do not even know how to write their names. And I am not saying this lightly because you have seen the robotic nature with which the police shot everyone who was not even threatening them. So let's focus on Ruto and his regime. The gentleman called Mboya said, let's not be legal or constitutional. I have emphasized Clause 1 of the Constitution is part of the Constitution. When you are occupying public spaces and saying Ruto must go, that is a constitutional exercise. When you are removing Ruto through Clause 1, you are acting within the Constitution. There is nothing outside the Constitution. You don't need anything else. Anybody who is referring to a secondary legislation or some kind of act of parliament does not understand how law and constitution works. The Constitution is the supreme law. Any law that contradicts it is null and void. So any law that purports to claw back on our sovereignty is deemed null and void. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari. Thank you, Daktari, for those sentiments. I think now we are clear. Everyone has understood the mission. We only have one assignment tomorrow is to occupy, occupy, occupy. Carry your bottle of water, carry your flowers for commemoration of the heroes that we've lost. Be in public spaces, occupy, occupy. Let's all be on the streets. We'll march on peacefully, and until Ruto must go is achieved. So the next speaker, please.
Can I just ask a quick follow-up question, Kinsman?
Kumbukeni, you are. I've seen you. I've seen you, but I think you have a network problem.
Yeah? My friend, there is a lady who wants to ask a follow-up question. Maybe if you don't mind, you could allow her to ask.
Yes,
What's her name, please, Daktari?
It's Nduku Kumbukeni.
The ladies that are here, I'm seeing Achieng, I'm seeing
it's me.
I'm seeing ladies, if you're in the room, kindly raise your hand.
She's saying her name is Nduku. Her name is Nduku.
Kumbukeni is the handle.
Kumbukeni, please.
Asante. All right, so...
But she seems to have a network problem because her nini has just been rotating.
Can you hear me?
Kumbukeni, can you hear us?
I can hear her very well. I can hear her.
Okay, proceed.
All right, okay, thank you. So, Dr. Miguna, just because Ruto was very keen to keep repeating the rule of law, and this is something that these criminals who call themselves leaders do all the time so that they can justify deploying the military on the people. So, and you have said several times that the military will not shoot on the people if the people occupy. I look at the Constitution, which is the rule of law that Ruto will use to defend his actions, and in one part, it gives the people the sovereign power, but right after it, it takes away the sovereign power from the people and gives it to the presidency. So could you please address that?
Okay, so let me answer you, Nduku. The Constitution does not take power that it has given in Clause 1. Clause 1 is not negated in any part of the Constitution. The following provisions of the Constitution simply says that once the people have delegated power to someone like the president, they would exercise that power. The delegation happens at election time. But if the people believe, for instance, that the president has not done what he was elected to do, Clause 1 can always be triggered by the people. And they do not have to go to their delegate, the person they have delegated power to, for permission to get back their power. That's like saying, if you have an employee and you have given the employee the terms and conditions of employment, there is a letter of employment. They are not supposed to be insubordinative to you. They are not supposed to steal from you. They are supposed to be answerable to you when they have done something and you want to call them to account. If they disobey your orders, you can fire them. And you don't need permission from them to fire them. So what I'm saying, the Constitution is our employment letter. We gave the president or Ruto a job to do. And for 2 years, he has done no job for us. He has been mangering all over the world, going to Washington. In fact, Ruto has been traveling every single week. He has spent billions of our money. He's our employee. We are the employer. He has spent billions without permission from us. He purported to have hired a jet to Washington without our authority. There is no constitutional power he had to unilaterally take our money and hire a jet. We have Kenya Airways. That is the mode of transportation for anybody who is working for us, because Kenya Airways partly belong to us. So what I'm saying is that Ruto has abrogated every constitutional provision and every term of employment, and he stands dismissed.
Would it, a quick one, sorry, Kinsman and Hillary, would it
No,
then
but
be...
I think going back and forth is not useful. Once
No,
I've
no,
answered
no.
your question, I think we
You
should move
have
on. Yeah.
answered it, but I was going to ask as a follow-up of that. Would it then be a wise choice for us to put together an indictment that lists everything that you did, so that we're not just talking about it in rooms, but we actually have a document that is saying this is why we are calling you out?
When Ruto was disobeying us, he did not come with a list.
Kumbukeni,
And when he was disobeying us, he already knew the terms of engagement. He knew that we did not need permission from him. We don't need a list to indict Ruto. Ruto stands indicted by his very acts. Yesterday, he sealed his fate by not even feeling sorry for families he has bereaved, for people he has caused pain to, for citizens that he has harmed and killed. And as far as I'm concerned, and many Kenyans have said this, Ruto is out of touch. Ruto is a cold-blooded murderer, and such people should be punished and not rewarded. Any day Ruto spends in State House is a day too much.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Man, people are keeping dropping. I don't know what is the problem. Check your network. It is now 8:30 here, but check your network and everything. Kingsman, can you hear me? Because I realized that you can't hear other people.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I think there was a network problem, but I'm back.
Yeah, all
My
the calls are
previous
dropping. I don't know why, but guys, let us check your network well. We're trying to keep it so that it can work. Risa, you
I
carry
think
up your hand.
the NIS and the Communication Authority and Safaricom and the rest, they are doing their thing. But let's focus on what we are doing.
Yeah, let us focus on what you're doing, guys. Yeah. You drop, you come back. I don't know what's happening, but it's okay. Risa, your hand is up sometimes. Then I change on that order. let us
Let me
keep.
go after Achieng, please, Hillary.
Okay, Achieng, go ahead.
Hillary. Just kidogo to maybe to compliment on whatever Daktari has said to Kumbukeni. Kumbukeni, I think the beauty about whatever we are going through at the moment is a feeling that is being experienced by each and every Kenyan. It is a feeling that supersedes and then it goes beyond tribal connotations. So that is even why they are having a problem on how they are going to approach this, because now the person they used to vilify all the time is Raila. Raila is not on the scene. It used to be a tribal thing, so the tribes are not here. These are feeling of whereby Punda imechoka. Punda imechoka since 1964, but today Punda iko like, I don't give an F whether I'm a Masai, a Kikuyu, a Kalenjin. I've realized the country against bad governance. He has been able to unite us against tribal affiliations. So, and he has also been able to unite us against him and his KK regime and his Akina this guy, Akina Sudi, splashing out money, opulence, and all that. So, already, as Daktari has said, the scorecard is out there. This guy, from the day he got into office, he never even looked at his JD. The interview that he did with the Kenyan people, he has never, ever from day one even ticked JD number one. His KPIs are uko chini. If you were to rate him between 0 and 10, ako uko -3. So there is, you see, and then there is, unajua kuna ule mtu unaambiwa utetee, unasema hata mimi simjui. This guy is at a position where it is so difficult for him to come and convince the Kenyan people that there is anything else he can do, especially the fact that he was not remorseful yesterday. I think that was the nail on the coffin.
All right, Kingsman, thank you so much. Check your network always. People keep dropping, getting a lot of messages. I don't know why, but check your network. And we have said that NIS and also the Safaricom is doing their things, but we are trying our best to make sure that the space run and very active. And let us be focused. 10 million people strong on the street in the morning. That's what we're saying. It is now 8:30, and that's where we are focused on. To see our people on the ground, to see we going on the ground in the morning, and that's the way to go. Achieng, go ahead, then Risasi, then Maj, you say hi.
Good evening, guys, and thank you, Hilary, Dr. Miguna, for this platform. My senior Machieng and Council and Kingsman ameongea nikasikia ni kama tayari I'm already getting angry again after the interview that Ruto put out yesterday, but we're going to be focused, 10 million strong. I'm just here to reiterate what Senior Counsel Dr. Miguna said when he says that we are beyond the point of talking to the government. And when he says that what we are doing is constitutionally right, I think let me just shed some background on maybe where he's coming from. So legally speaking, when a legal document is drafted, you have to look at the spirit behind that document. You know, that law is an evolving creature. So you need to look at the spirit behind that document. And when the Constitution was being drafted, Article 1 actually just says the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. Guys, I need us to understand that we elected these people democratically to air our voices and concern. But at the same thing that I'm saying, the spirit of the document, if you look at the finance bill, the spirit behind it was not the one to tetea for the common mwananchi. This was the spirit behind it was the one for the IMF, the people who have their interests, and the tumbocrats themselves. So when the constitution was being drafted, they know this power is ours. They know the wananchi, the supreme. They know that we are the ones who elect people into power. So do not fear. Do not fear. The Constitution envisages all these scenarios. We are not out of order. We are still within the rule of law. And if at all anything, we are using the utmost Article 1. There's a reason why it's Article 1 of our Constitution, because it's supreme. So let's not fear. 10 million strong tomorrow. Let's just come out and defend each other. We fight for our rights. That's all I have to say for today.
Thank you so much, Etienne. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yep. Mobilize people. Tell them we're alive at the moment with Generali Mwenyewe at the moment. We are sharing the hashtag Ruto must go, make 10 million strong and secure our future and our country. Risasi, go ahead.
Thank you, Hilary. I think let me start by just reiterating what Dr. said yesterday. One of the things that came up was we are not going to get any kind of justice without removing Ruto in power. If Ruto is still in power, you will never get justice. And he gave so many examples yesterday. Two, protest works. So in that spirit, we should get out there and remove this guy. We didn't stop him from posting on the financial bill by going to the court or even through constitution. We did that by going to the streets, and evidence is there. If we are not sure of who we are dealing with, Ruto is a textbook definition of a dictator. And how do dictators operate? One of the fundamental characteristics of dictators is their decision-making process. Dictators make decisions through a very tiny cabal of advisors. You have a good example, Ndi and the likes. They make decisions through cronies. People are not even qualified. The likes of Farouk Kibet, somebody who doesn't have got even a job description. I think the best qualification Farouk is I don't know. I cannot even imagine, except being a friend to Ruto. And they do this through the aid of their parrots, the likes of Itumbi. Sycophants, the likes of Jakakimba, whose their role is to wake up in the morning, type what the president said, twerking for president on Twitter. That is what they do. Secondly, look at how he's trying to consolidate support. He has done this through churches previously, and I think people have realized that. So he has nowhere to run to churches. That is why when he hears people occupying churches, he gets agitated. He's doing this through trade unions. Look at the likes of Atuoli. Those are the people who are supporting him. He's doing this through hijacking political parties. Recently, he has already hijacked ANC to consolidate support in parliament. He's doing this through state machinery. Recently, there was proposals to increase salary for police, and these are just aimed to consolidate his base. So, guys, we are dealing with a despot here. It's just a matter of time before we have somebody like Mugabe in the making. Other thing that is very, very much determined is control of key institutions. These are the army, the police, the civil service, state media, parliament. For now, he has control of parliament. There's nothing else you can do in parliament. Judiciary, the less we speak about it, the better. You know what happened, including swearing of judges is being done in State House, and this is the third arm of government. He's doing this through licenses, censorships. Recently, I saw KTN complaining that they were about to shut off their frequencies. This is a classic dictator we are dealing with here, guys. There's no difference between Ruto and Gaddafi or Ruto and Saddam Hussein. He's just like that Saddam Hussein who wears a counter suit. But otherwise, huyu ni Saddam. Hakuna tofauti. He's doing this through abductions. How many people were abducted in the course of last week? Arrest, dismissals, and now people are dying. There are murders. There are murders, disappearances happening all over. So if we remain with this guy in power, trust me, itakuwa worse than even before we went for this demonstration. So with that, please, let's not lose focus. The guy has to go, and the easiest way, suspend your constitution. Laws are made for men, not men made for laws. Kama ni mbaya, we can suspend the constitution. It doesn't have to be every time that sijui tutamtoa na katiba. Ruto si mtu wa kutoa na katiba. Nyinyi mlimuona jana na kama mtu wa kutolewa na katiba. He's not going anywhere. So if we don't remove him, then he will be stuck with us. Hiyo ndio contribution yangu, Hilary. Thanks.
Ubarikiwa sana Risasi. Asante sana. That's the spirit that we're going with. Thank you so much, guys. Keep networking together as usual. And we said that look at your right, your left, and we want to make this conversation go on. And now we want to know also your security. And Dr. said something yesterday that if you don't have spirit of revolution, don't go outside. If you fear death, then sleep. And when you don't fear, when you know that you are fighting for your country and you're going there, then you have to be very, very vigilant all the time. Let me close your mic. Levi hatufanyi kazi hapo. Levi hatufanyi kazi hapa hivyo. Funga hiyo mic yako. Asante. Mike, Maj, can you say hi? How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes, you can hear you, Maj.
Thank you, and thanks everyone. To those who are going to demonstrate tomorrow, kindly ensure you demonstrate peacefully, so that it is a peaceful demonstration. Of course, we know that things can turn out differently, but be on the record to be the one demonstrating peacefully. And I received a lot of information inboxes of people who were asking me that they wanted to speak and they were from the ground. I'm here now. Keep those requests. I'm going to add you, and so that at least also your voice is heard. I really received many inbox messages. I just want to say that I'll be here just queuing in and ensuring that as many people as possible, especially from the ground, also get to speak. And welcome again, and thanks, Dr. for coming on board again. Back to you, Hilary.
Thank you so much. Brief. Go ahead.
No, Hilary, maybe before brief, guys, I've posted the article one of our constitution as Daktari was taking us through it. So if you see it on the message side, please retweet, like it, so that it can reach out to as many people as possible. We need to get informed. We need this. This is the new kind of mandamano, and it feels good. You can even go tomorrow to the mandamano with your suit, umedunga, uko msafi, umepiga marashi, unanukia. Anti hata ule mwenye amebeba fimbo anashangaa sasa nimpige tear gas ama tu ni mheshimu. Yani the most beautiful demonstration ever in the whole world. Ruto is about to find out. Yani atakuwa hata askari watawaambia hapana, hao si wa kupigwa, wewe enda tu kanyaga kubwa. So tomorrow we are peaceful, tunajibamba. Kama uko na speaker, beba, tokea kwa street, enjoy your music, enjoy your drink, kunywa maji. He must go, man. Lazima aende tu. Yani lazima tu. I don't know if you're feeling the energy that this guy has to go. And we are so informed. Hakuna fala hapa. Some of us are not even interested with holding any public office for the rest of our lives. We just want a better Kenya. We do not want a country of chieftains. Sijui, it's like that person who always wants to call you out for a drink and then he buy. He's buying every time. But when you ask him, bro, what do you do for a living? He doesn't tell you. So that is the kind of president that we have. Anataka tu kutubaia. Hapana, tunataka kila Mkenya aweze kujibaia drink. Wale wenye wakunywi wajibaie chai. Wenye maandamano is peaceful. We are not touching his brick and mortars. Hizo ajieke, apeleke Sugoi, wakakae huko na familia yake. Juu hakuna kitu inawafurahisha kama kuon buildings, kuon mavitu. Unajua mavitu tu. I think that is their goal in life. So achia Sakaja na dimple zake, mtu asiguze City Hall. Don't touch anything. Just be on the streets. Let's be there. All of us, as Daktari has said, 10 million strong.
Daktari, go ahead. I can see your mic.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I wanted to say my intelligence actually tells me that City Hall was not banned by protesters. It was banned by Sakaja himself, so that Ruto could use it as the excuse to give that protesters banned it. And many places that banned, it is the tear gas that exploded, just like it burnt the police officer's hands, the one who lost both hands, the same way that it would burn anything that is flammable. So we cannot take blame for what they have done. We must not take responsibility for Ruto's thuggery. I am sure that today they are planning how they are going to unleash goons that will inflict harm on protesters. But one thing you must know about Ruto, because I know him personally, Ruto wants to be loved. Okay? In as much as he's cold-blooded and everything, he actually wants to be loved, to be liked, to be worshipped, to be praised. And he particularly likes that from foreigners, the foreign media, Washington, London, all these capitals of the West, because he suffers from low self-esteem. That's what happens with a lot of tyrants who suffer from low self-esteem. But he's a weak man. He's weak politically, he's weak mentally. You saw that he's weak psychologically also. He's not that intelligent because dictators who are intelligent would have answered questions properly yesterday, would even have pretended. Ruto couldn't even pretend. He is worse than when Uhuru appeared during the BBI and everybody else had rejected it, or in 2017 and people had voted against them, and the Supreme Court ruled against their electoral theft. They threatened the Supreme Court, they threw tantrums, they threatened the people. They were completely without any control. That's Ruto. So the more we press, the more he has nothing left out of his arsenals. He has already used brute force. He's been abducting people, he's been killing people. He tried to seek sympathy, but people have told him, we are not listening because you are completely disconnected to what is happening. So tomorrow, he will not be able to do anything. I can assure you, he has run out of anything else that he can do. So the more we push him against the wall, the more we guarantee that he will leave. Finally, our security and safety is in our numbers. Let no one lie to you that your security and safety is staying home. The people who stayed home in Githurai the other day or in Rongai the other day, some of them were shot through the window or through the walls of their houses. Some of them died just walking on the road. They kept away from the protest, but they came for you and killed you on the street. The same thing happened in the Maandamanos before they bought Raila Odinga. They killed people in their homes. So the point is this: you are not safe staying at home. You are not safe saying that you are going to watch this thing from bars. We are safe when we are many on the street. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daktari. And so, Sakaja, I know you're listening. The allegations weigh very heavy. So, because this is what is going to also make other demonstrators get killed. And afterwards, when we're asking for explanation, because I heard the word accountability being used. I don't know how people thought out, the idea or the fantasy of accounting for somebody who's died. They've died, they're not coming back again. But that needs clarification, Governor Sakaja, if you're listening, because that should not be the case. I think Brief Scoop was next. Over to you, Brief Scoop.
Asante Maj, and just want to reiterate, yes, Constitution is a document, and while, yes, this process is within the Constitution, to research his point, and to, I believe it was Achieng earlier, these documents are meant to serve us. We are not meant to serve them. And I want to ask Daktari to that point, should we already be thinking about the future? What comes after this? Because I do believe that this is a foregone conclusion that Kenyans are coming out. We'll keep this up. We have to keep this up because actually at this point we have no choice. We've started this fight, and quite frankly, we don't have a choice. Retreat is not an option. So is it too soon? Is it too early? Can we be discussing simultaneously what comes next? And to that point, does this constitution serve us sufficiently? There are components that do, but does it do so sufficiently? I think you want to already answer, so I'll use that.
So, Brief Scoop, let me answer you quickly. I want you to go to my Twitter handle and read the document of yesterday. Please read it completely up to the end. And then digest it, because your answer is there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Check what Daktari is posting and check all the things he's trying to answer other things on our Twitter handle. so you can get more answers on the same.
I actually posted it more than 3 hours ago.
All right. Nidi Joe, I see your hand. Then Joe Karani, then Mwangi, then Levy. That way.
Yes, thank you for the platform. And asante sana Prof kwa kuwa available to give us guidance. Mine is to tell all the comrades heckle, because so far so good. Good work has been done. So I want to say this. So far we've seen these guys trying to do this thing we call divide and rule. And I'd like to urge each and every one of us who's listening here that don't be misguided, don't be intimidated, be fearless. This is a good cause, and we are fighting for our country. Again, we should continue pressing the hashtag Ruto must go. And he must go with his regime in its entirety. Again, we must also continue to press on the issue of the IEBC. As we go to the streets tomorrow, let's all come out in large numbers, because I am sure wherever we're headed is the right direction. We need to come out, because we need to show this thing is serious than it was last week. Finally, I'd like to say this. Everything that we are doing is because of our country. So let no one deceive you or intimidate you against standing up for your right. So tomorrow we say it's 10 million strong. Come out in large numbers. Let's do whatever we are supposed to do. But again, we insist on peaceful demonstrations. Let's shun things that may tarnish our name and our image, so that whatever we are fighting for, it's a good cause. And at the end of the day, when we approach it in a peaceful manner, tactically and strategically, we shall be able to conquer. So we are together in this, 10 million strong tomorrow. Let's meet. Thank you.
I think as because there are so many requests, there are so many requests that are coming in. I think we can stick. Remember our main speaker is Daktari, so most of the questions should go towards him, and you also now make a brief comment on how yesterday's presidential roundtable with the media made you feel. What was your feeling after the interview? How did you feel? Were you like empathetic to him? Were you like you can give him a second chance? And then when it comes now to the questions of how we'll tackle this, I think those ones, constitutional questions, can be directed to Daktari. Us will just be giving guidance on how we proceed. So please, when you get your mic, there are so many requests. Don't take a lot of time. At least 5 minutes maximum, guys. So after 5 minutes, we'll be ringing the bell on you.
Actually, Kingsman, we can reduce to even 3. 5 minutes we will not manage like yesterday.
Three.
Yeah.
I think 3.
Thank you. Back to you, Kingsman.
So I've seen no one.
Levy was to come. Levy, Joe, Mwangi, then Yaradwen. Levy, Joe,
okay.
Mwangi, then Yaradwen. Yep. Go ahead, Levy.
Patriots, revolutionists, thank you so much for this platform and giving an opportunity for people to ventilate their ideas and their questions on this issue. I also pass my regards to Dr. Miguna for coming here to give some guidance. I'm an advocate also by profession and a student of different means of protest, and that's what I'm going to address. There are so many other means of protest that we've not included in our fight. We'll have to incorporate everything that is within our means if we are to succeed on the overriding objective of having this government resign or go down. I'll start by the notion of Gen Z. A revolution ordinarily is started by a group of people. So let us denounce the notion that this revolution belongs to Gen Z. I've gone to the street several times, of course, and you'd come back and people would ask you, are you a Gen Z? This is not a Gen Z revolution. This is a revolution that is started by Gen Z. For a revolution to be successful, all parties must come in, all generations must actually join this cause. And I'll actually be very happy the day I'll see a grandfather, a father, a son, or a grandchild all in the streets. I remember that was what was happening in Tahrir Square at the peak of the Arab Spring in Egypt. So let us make an effort to bring everybody on board. Let's bring all classes on board. Let's bring all ages on board. And that's the only way we can succeed in this course. I'll also address the issue of walkouts. There are many professions in this country. Myself, as a lawyer, I had to adjourn my matter that is coming up tomorrow so that I can participate in the protest. I make the formal application today in court that I cannot attend a hearing tomorrow because of protest. For this revolution to succeed, patriots, we need to talk to every professional and pressurize them to start normalizing walking out of their jobs. Doctors at some point will have to walk out of hospitals at a specific time to show their solidarity to the revolution. I keep wondering, why are schools still operating normally? The teachers, there are a big number in Kenya who have a lot of influence in the villages. We have to find a way of incorporating them, let them walk out of the schools. Students were the first victims of Ruto when he actually tear gassed them with the intention of grabbing their land next to Weston. Students will also have to join the protest by walking out of schools and carrying placards in schools. So let us expand the scope of our revolution. Let us expand the scope outside the street to go to offices, to go to schools, to go to hospitals, and actually even to go to courts. Now, what we are doing is essentially in law, I'll call it civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is enshrined in Article 1 of the Constitution, as Daktari and other lawyers have talked about it. And someone has mentioned the Constitution serves humanity. The Constitution is actually a product of democracy. And therefore, the people have a right to go to the streets and exercise democracy directly. Something like nudity. At some point in this long journey towards this government, we'll have to invoke nudity, if possible, as a form of resistance, where on attack by the police, people in mass with a plan will have to strip so that any attack from the police is actually stopped by that specific means of resistance. I'll also address the issue of our revolutionists and comrades who are abroad. You have a role to play. Ensure that you mobilize Kenyans in cities across the world. As the Daktari has noted with a lot of precision, Ruto is a lover of attention. He fears the white man. He wants to be accepted within the company of the likes of Biden. That should not be allowed. In foreign capitals in the world, it has started and it should continue. Let Kenyans stand up and tell the foreign governments that you are dealing with a dangerous person. Do not be lied by this person. It is also a high time that ICC is flooded with petitions from Kenya. That there is a war criminal, there is a person who is committing crimes against humanity on the loose. He has been your client before. He is back on rampage. Ensure that you send petitions to ICC. I'll be sharing that process. It's a very simple process, and everyone, not a lawyer alone, has a right to complain. That is what happened in Gaza, and you can see the results. Finally, the ICC actually is pursuing an indiction against Netanyahu and his accomplices. The same applies in Kenya. What is happening is crimes against humanity. And we have a role to proceed and petition the ICC to do the necessary. Comrades and patriots, what I'm saying in short is that pressure must come from all directions. The enemy is dangerous, the enemy is insidious, the enemy is sly. Let us take pressure from all directions to achieve the overriding objective of this government resigning from power or leaving power by any peaceful, legal way necessary. Thank you.
Thank you so much Wakili, tumekupatia time mingi kwa sababu you were saying very very good things there.
Hillary.
Then yes daktari.
Hello.
Yes daktari, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hillary.
Yes daktari.
I can't hear anybody.
Kingsman.
We can
Maj,
hear you.
can you hear me?
I can hear Hillary
Okay.
too.
I wanted
Yeah.
to say something very quickly. I think the contributions are very good, but I would urge us to remain very focused. Our agenda is to bring down the regime. It's not to disrupt civilians. Our agenda is to stop Ruto from his ongoing tyranny. It's not to make life uncomfortable for fellow Kenyans. So let's get that very, very clearly. If we are not targeted, then we can't succeed. So if somebody was to say that we are 10 million people on the street and we are targeting public spaces, say, for example, Arambe House, State House, any space where these vagrants stay or work or purport to work, that is legitimate. But I would be very careful about occupying a hostel that would be there to treat those that they have abused and assaulted and injured. Because we want doctors to continue working so that they can treat the injured, so that they can preserve life. So those who are free can join us, but it can't be by force. We can't force anybody to demonstrate. We can't force anybody to protest. People would have to exercise their democratic right to stay away from the protest. That's part of the society that we want to build. There is no society we will create that is based on force. We will be replicating Ruto. We will not be solving any problem. So let's be very clear. We want to solve a problem, and our solution cannot imitate the problem. Our solution has to be better than the problem.
Thank you so much, Dr. for that clarification, which is indeed very important. We do not want to disrupt any activities, and we also really at this point out that the demonstrators should really align to the given given laws while expressing their rights. Hillary, whom did you queue next? Okay.
Maj, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. I queue in Joe Karani, Mwangi, then Nyaradwen.
Okay. Joe
Karani, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, man.
A good evening to you all.
Evening.
I really want to thank Dr. Miguna for keeping us, making us stand on business. Because for me, mine is very small. It's just something that I've noted during this movement. And I think it is important that we point it out and understand this. So we're at a time where our selfish ambitions have to be put aside. We have to sort of do what is best for the group. Now, I'll talk about it by using illustrations. At the end of last week, there are two people who gave in to their selfish ambitions and derailed the conversation around the movement. I don't want to mention their names, but you know who they are, the music guy and the other car guy. They gave in to their selfish ambitions and derailed what we're doing for this country. And now I will use another illustration of somebody else who ignored the noise and just went ahead and did what was good for the group. And I can mention her name, Hanifa. We dragged her through the mud. We said all sorts of things about her, but she stayed on business and did what she had planned for that day, which was go to each and every injured Shuja or somebody, all the ones who had passed and had been killed by this Ruto regime, and take care of them. By the end of the day, we were already talking about the entire conversation around that whole thing was how Hanifa had managed to do what NHIF has tried to do and failed, then they're even creating something new, and it's going to still fail. So we need to really think in everything that you do, everything that you say, that tweet you're tweeting. Tomorrow when you're going out, be your brothers and sisters' keeper. Remember, just do what is good for the group and put away your selfish ambitions, because I don't want another situation where we're divided and conquered, because I fear Ruto winning, and this man cannot win. You guys saw him yesterday in that interview. Oh my God. He cannot win, and we cannot let him win. I know I've heard all of you, and I know each and every one of us wants a better Kenya, and that's what we're fighting for. So let's keep up the fight. Let's to talk kesho, see what 10 million. Let us fight for a better Kenya. Maze, that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Karani. We have several tweet coming in and some reports that all other counties, so many counties are ready, and young people are. There are many people. Some have now starting.
I can't hear anything.
Dr. Miguna, can you hear me?
No, it's only now I'm hearing you. I was not hearing you before.
Okay. Let Hillary try to speak again, and then.
Dr. Can you hear me? I think Dr. is
and
not
Maj, can you let Kigame speak? I know probably he has not requested, but I see him in the crowd, and it would be important probably to hear his voice.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let me send him the mic. Can you, Dr. Miguna, can you hear Hillary as I bring on Dr. Kigame?
I can't hear Hillary.
Okay, Hillary. Dr. cannot hear you, but if you leave, the space is gonna drop. Let me see. Let me text you and see how we can proceed with this.
Dr. can drop, then come back. I think maybe that can work.
Okay, that's also possible. But Ruben Kigame, we would like to hear from you. Please pick the mic. Let me send you the mic. And so as we continue, there's somebody has requested me to ask, because there's a breaking news that Sakaja states that the demonstrations are not going to go on in Nairobi tomorrow. Is this because they have a flyer and then they have an Citizen TV logo on it? Please, let's take the next 5 minutes to confirm if that is true before we have somebody comment on it. Hillary, who is next?
Let's Mwangi, are you here? Mwangi, Nyaradwen, go ahead. Nyaradwen?
Thank you, Hillary, and everyone today on this space. My question, yes, I can see Dr. here. My question was to Dr. Miguna. Dr. I'm happy we are with you today. And we have realized that this war is not only about us. There are infights within the same government. And as our protest has always been peaceful, and I insist we have always been peaceful. Nobody is going to convince me otherwise, because I saw policemen shoot at shops with live rounds. So it is the police. And then there was also some people that came in later, and apparently these people had weapons. But I am sure those people are not Gen Zs. Now, to Dr. For the sake of protecting ourselves, because myself, I'll have to be on the ground tomorrow. For the sake of protecting ourselves and our young people, there is this infight that is going on between the president and his deputy, and also other people involved. I don't know. And you realize there are chances that maybe these other people, civilians with crude weapons, are sponsored. Right now, I'm seeing something going around on the social media. During 2023 finance bill or cost of living protest, they called themselves Nairobi Business Community. Today, they're calling themselves Nairobi Youth Business Community. And these are the same people who unleash war on I call it war on innocent citizens. Now, is there a way, is there, being somebody who's on the know-how, is there a way we can identify ourselves without having been the target? Dr. Thank you. I'll drop my speaker so you can have somebody else.
Thank you. Yeah, please go on.
Yes, thank you. Nyaradwen, I understand what you are saying. Yes, we do have a problem, which normally in political science they basically call elite fracture. So there are divisions within the executive, but that should not concern us. Those are their own problems. We should not care about their problems, and we should not focus on their problems. The people that were sponsored, the people that came with weapons, were sponsored by the same government. I believe these people were Farouk sponsored, they were Oscar Sudi sponsored, they were Ruto sponsored. I think they are using Rigathi Gachagua as a red herring. Rigathi Gachagua is not part of the protests, so they cannot bring him in. He's part of them. He's Ruto's deputy. He appointed him, and he's in government, and he's part of the problem. So let us not be diverted. I think that if we are all dressed the same, it's difficult because it's quite a large number, and some people don't have the ability to make T-shirts or to buy. But if we can, I think that dressing in white and black and green were the three colors that were chosen. And for people who can carry the flag, water, everybody should carry water if they can, because it helps with the tear gas. And then just stay together. Don't spread out. Spreading out opens up those who spread out as easy targets of attack. Because once you are alone, that's how they cornered Rex. Once they find you alone on the street, they can shoot you and there is no accountability. Nobody's taking pictures. Nobody can come to your aid. So as much as possible, let us be together, and let us be together in huge numbers that they cannot confront. Ruto is weak and down. Yes, they say that he's lethal when he's down, but I can assure you right now, Ruto is defanged. He has no poison, he has no teeth. He has to go with this entire regime.
Thank you so much, Dr. And another thing, and Yara, that was a very good question there. Another thing that I hear people speak about on the streets a lot is that, you know, the division that Yaradwed is expressing now, that, you know, they could be fighting each other, which doesn't appear to make sense because, as Dr. rightly says, they're one team. So constitutionally, if one resigns, the other has to go with it. So I think that idea of letting citizens think that they're fighting each other is just a propaganda there to try to bring in the tribe issue again, and just to just bring in divisive aspects into the conversation. Godfather?
Godfather, your
Thank you. Thank you, Maj. Thank you, Hillary, Maj, the co-host, Kingsman, and our key speaker, the General, Dr. Miguna, the speakers that have already given their views so far, as well as those who are going to give, and our honorable listeners. This is a very important conversation, and I just wanted to retaliate that this is the week, and as the General stated, the only option is to march forward to put more pressure, to apply pressure so that we can have the government go home in entirety. So we are trying to look into that. But as we look at that, the issues that are coming up, and these will be playing at on the ground tomorrow, are the magic of numbers. How then do we stick together if the tear gas comes? You know, Nyaragden, for instance, will be on the ground. Tear gas may likely disperse the populace. So is there any scientific way of trying to control the crowd so that they remain in numbers, so that we can try to reduce the numbers of the fatalities and the injured by the police? Because that is something that is still a concern, as much as we must march forward. That is the first part. The second part, how can we document the atrocities that are being committed by the police? Because eventually we need to hold them accountable after the fact. Because we've seen, for instance, yesterday's interview of Ruto, Mr. Ruto, in our State House. He doesn't seem to understand what's going on. He seems to be living in a different world altogether. He doesn't have the empathy, even, when we talk about a child has been shot over 7 times or 8 times. His response is, isn't he alive? These are some of the issues we're looking at. So, we're looking at someone who we must get out of power by all means possible. And we expect that they're also likely to use a lot of force. So how do we document these atrocities that are likely to be committed by the police and other criminals, so that we can try and also hold them accountable after the fact, apart from the citizen journalism, which I believe most of them will be having smartphones to try and record this. But we see them, they have the advantage of having the CCTV cameras to try and get the looters. But how do we also hold them accountable moving forward? Thank you. Thank you, Maj.
Thank you so much, Godfather. Kingsman, go.
Margin, maybe just to contribute on the issue that is going around about the rift between the president and his deputy. I think that is their problem as KK. And even from my tweets, I've kept on saying that whether, I saw the deputy president saying that his sons didn't approve him supporting the deputy president, then I think those are elite issues, and they are